Hello, I'm Frédéric Bien, and I'm going to continue the module on marketing advertising for the course Data Analytics in Business Management 6203. Today, in the second part of the second module, we're going to talk about search engine marketing, which is a very important and very lucrative business for digital advertising. So far we've seen the traditional methods of advertising. We've seen the evolution of digital ad companies and traditional ad companies in various markets. We've talked about the overview of the digital ad market, and we've started talking about methods of digital advertising. The first one we covered in the previous module was display advertising. Today, we're going to talk about search engine marketing. So search engine marketing, as you recall from the previous module where we talked about the size of the market, search engine marketing represents almost half of the revenues of digital advertising in general. It's huge. It's tens of billions of dollars. And of course, it fuels companies like Google, Microsoft/Bing, Yahoo, that was later acquired by Verizon, as well as many other companies throughout the world, including some Asian companies that are quite good in this space, such as Baidu, for instance, in China. So let's talk about search engine marketing or advertising. The content of many of these slides comes again from my colleague Michael Buchanan, who teaches the course MGT 6311, Digital Marketing, which I encourage you to take later on to dig deeper into this field of digital advertising and digital media buying, which is very interesting and worthwhile. Great opportunities for work wherever you are in the world, since this is a global business. So some key terms. PPC stands for pay-per-click, which is the type of advertising which an advertiser pays only when there's a click on an ad or advertising. Search engine result page, SERP, which is the page that shows the results where an ad may appear after a user has done a query. Keyword is the word that is looked for by the users. So in a search query, so for instance, users search for the term blue widgets, and it may in turn include several terms, blue and widgets. The search engine may be smart enough to realize if you're looking for blue widgets, you might also be interested in azul widgets or cyan widgets. So there's a lot of intelligence that goes into these keywords, as we will see somewhat in this slide. Click-through rate, or CTR, is the total number of clicks on an ad or link divided by the number of times that an ad or link was shown. It's expressed as a percentage, so a 1% click-through rate would mean that one person clicked on the ad out of 100 people who saw the ad or were served the ad. And then the landing page is the first page that the user arrives at after clicking on the link. Typically, the link contains a redirect that allows the search engine to keep track of the fact that somebody clicked on that link, and then you land on the advertiser's page. And one of the key of this whole business will be to make sure that the landing page and the ad that the user clicked on have some common words, so that the user sort of feels held by the hand as he moves or she moves from the search engine to the result website. So the pages that have the most success are those that match up the best the user's expectation coming from a search query to a result website. So here are some examples of what ads look like. You're very familiar with this. We took them from Google, but you have the same result in Bing, as I said, in Baidu, in Chinese, as well as probably in other languages where you might live today. And we separate the paid placements or sponsored ads also from the organic results, which are the results that are not paid but are usually provided just for the benefit of the viewer. And there can be several pages of organic ads, so organic results. Now the paid ads may not always have the ratio that is shown in this picture. It's just shown here, so you have several examples. Notice how each of these paid ads has a title on the top left and then sometimes a subtitle on the top right. So for instance, Atlanta real estate for sale, as well as browse Atlanta real estate. Or it could be the real estate market and then the name of website. Then you have a small indication that this is an ad, so that it helps separate sort of advertorial content from editorial content. And then you have description that shows why you might be interested in this, couple of lines of text at most, and usually a URL or some additional information that you may click on that allow you to separate, for instance, the direction where you may be going. You can also have paid ads that are containing pictures. For instance, if you search for electronics online or computers or TVs, you will see that usually search engine display ads that also contain small pictures. So I've talked about the format of these ads. As you can see, they have a strict format, headline 1, headline 2, at most 30 characters. And there's a whole art form in trying to decide what's the best way to phrase my ad. There's also a science of A/B testing, trying one headline versus another headline, seeing which one gets a higher click-through rate, what kind of descriptions attracts users to click more on it. So there's a lot of comparative testing or A/B testing that compares these ads. And often, as you will see later, we put different types of creative, as they are called, into a group of ads and then cycle through them, hoping that the engine will eventually find which ad serves the best, gives you the best result. Best result also means the best revenue for the search engine. So everyone is motivated here to have an ad that has a high click-through rate and therefore a high response rate. So here's the example in this case. Comprehensive insurance, protects yourself on the budget, the domain, sometime additional paths to go into a sub-page of the site, and then a brief description of why you should click on this ad. So the landing pages are supposed to match the content. And here's an example of how an ad can lead you to a landing page that is quite a good synergy. As you can see, you were potentially looking for marketing automation, and you find yourself on a page that now has that right in the center. So there's a continuity, which means lower stress for the brain to sort of say, where am I? Why am I on this page? And this hand-holding, this thread sort of continues the line of thinking, makes it easier for the viewer to say, aha, this is where I want it to be, and therefore let me keep digging in this direction and potentially buy something. So what are the click-through rates for ads? The click-through rates have been declining, but overall they remain much, much better than display advertising. So the type of click-through rate that happens in the case of ad in first position, because of course you have many ads and different positions for this ad, can be as high as 1 in 5, okay, or 20%. As you go down the list, you see that you may get into single percent, 5% maybe, And I've seen, click-through rates even lower in the range of 1, 2, or 3%. Notice also that here we've only listed the top 10 position. Often when you buy ads, you may still be able to spend budgets without being in the top 10 position. Although if you can spend the budget, you should always try to be in the top 10 position, for instance, in Google. So the type of model that is used for serving an ad is based on the Vickrey auction model. So if somebody offers to pay $3, another one offers to pay $2.50, another one $2.35, then the search engine will try to outbid the previous spender by just 1 cent. Okay, so you can see here that the ads from A1 are being served at $2.36, and the A1 advertiser said, I'm not going to spend more than $2.50. Meanwhile, A2 has said, I'm willing to spend up to $3, and so the search engine will say, okay, I'm going to take $2.51 from you. Now, this is how it's supposed to work in principle. Of course, we don't necessarily see all the auction, only the search engine does, and so we have to hope that they actually run it this way and they don't, bump up the rates by 5 cents or 10 cents to make more money. But that's kind of the part of the secret sauce or the magic box that we participate in when we buy search engine marketing. So how do you get your ads to show? So relevance is key. So an ad has to be relevant to the page that it appears on. There's this notion of quality scores. All right, and so quality score for an ad is based on the keyword, the relevance of the keyword to the search query or the search term that is being used. The ad copy, the relevance of the ad copy to the search terms that are being searched by the users. And the landing page, which is partly based on what is happening on the landing side. Google does go look, through automated system for the text that is found on the landing page. Therefore, if you have a landing page that consists just of an image, for instance, that wouldn't be very good because Google is not able to match your landing with the search query in an automated fashion. And they don't have time to go look at every landing page with a human. So these three factors are combined into a score, keywords, ad copy, and landing page, that will then help determine also your click-through rates in part. But based on that history of the ad, you obtain something that is used for deciding when, should this ad be served by Google. So the quality score is about 40%, the landing page experience, 40% the click-through rate history, and then about 20-25% the ad relevance compared to the search query. So, based on this study, you can see how important it is to have landing pages that match well or that contain the search queries being contained. Now here is kind of a reverse engineering view of how the Google makes a decision on where to place your ads. Okay, so once you've entered the Google auction, Google looks, at what is your maximum bid for an ad and what is the quality score of your ad. So it combines these two, and from there it provides an ad rank. So if you say I want to, advertise airlines with the keyword blue widget, for instance, well, you wouldn't have a very good quality score. Or if, in comparison, you had an airline term, and now you're landing on a page that talks about blue widgets, so you will also have a low quality score. So it doesn't matter if you bid a very high number, your ad may not show among the top ads on the page. So you really have to combine a relatively healthy cost per click bid with a robust quality score. And good quality score would be ideally over 40%, maybe 60 to 80%. Of course, you're not going to get perfect matches usually because of how the quality score is computed. Now, when you go into a Google AdWords account, and I hope that several of you will try to create an AdWords account. It's free. We would like you to do so. We will post some links here in the site for you to look at various pages in Google AdWords Academy, as it's called, so you can become proficient in running an AdWords account. And inside an account, you'll be able to create campaigns, and inside campaigns, you'll be able to create ad groups. Ad groups will contain keywords and will contain creative or ads themselves. And you'll combine these together to sort of rotate a series of creative against a series of keywords. Altogether, at the next level, the number of combinations of keywords and creative ads could be in the hundreds, if not in the thousands, in a typical ad campaign. So all of this, of course, generates a lot of data, and you have to combine it later on with your goals to figure out how it's working and are you making money in this way of advertising. So in order to create a good ad campaign, you have to set up some business goal, potentially conduct some market research, then define some objectives. What are the metrics for success? Decide on a budget with your CEO or the CEO's client or CFO's client, and conduct some keyword research. There are many tools for doing keyword research. If you just type keyword research tools, you will see a whole bunch of them. Some are provided by the search engine themselves, and some are better found outside, so that they'll tell you, what to bid on the search engine or what other advertisers may have bid also. Then you have to create ads, and as I said earlier, there's a whole art form to creating interesting ads, and make sure that you have put tracking in place. Some pixels, I call tracking pixels. After that, you determine the profitability of your ad campaign. And what do you need to know in order to determine the profitability of an advertising campaign in search engine marketing? So here are the key numbers that you have access to. Your cost per click, that may not be the same for every term, by the way, right? If you are advertising, typically you will want to buy your own brand name so that nobody else buys it. This is one of the magic recipes, I would say, for making money that search engines have discovered, is that everybody is going to bid relatively high on their own name, because otherwise competitors could buy your name and potentially show their ads when people search for your name. It was a court case many years ago to find out if this was legal or not for search engine to do that, and it has been determined that yes, they can provide to some extent the opportunities for competitors to buy search terms that approximate at least your name, and therefore your cost per click can vary across many types of keywords that you buy. Then you have the conversion rate, which is the rate at which people who land on your site will then perform certain actions, such as go into a page or a section of your site, or register, or buy something. So you decide on what is the conversion event, as it's called. And conversion events can be set in various analytical tools, so you can track it in the search engine as well as in the analytical tools. You have your sale value, what did people buy? You have the profit margin on the items that you sell. And then you have the repeat behavior, or the loyalty, or the lifetime value of a customer, also called LTV, for lifetime value of a customer. How do we determine the cost per click of a campaign and the conversion rate. So the cost per click is given to you by the search engine that keeps track, a sort of giant accounting system of the bids that you had on all of the ads that you run in your campaign. Rarely do you need to have an additional accounting system, but there are many tools that are sort of front-end tools to better manage at an enterprise level search ad campaigns. And you may have also a cost per click that is kept in your management tool. When you have a large brand that has search ad campaigns operating in multiple countries, potentially competing for similar keywords in different countries, even for instance a big travel company or hotel company, you may need to use such front end. Same thing for credit card companies that I've seen, or telephone companies often use a front end system to manage the ad campaign in the search engine. The conversion rates will be kept both in the management tool you may use as well as the search engine itself. Depending which tracking pixel you use, the best conversion could be found in the search engine tool or in your internal analytics. Some of the systems that I've seen used for studying all these conversion rates include Core Metrics or Omniture that used to be an independent company, then was acquired by Adobe. Core Metrics was acquired by IBM. And if you look for analytical tools, you will find there's probably 30 other companies that you can use for doing internal analytics on ad campaigns. So these additional tools also help you verify that the information given to you by the search engine is correct. Otherwise, search engine may tell you that you got 100 clicks, but on your side you only see 20 clicks, for instance. And on the conversion side, you may want to see if the users are really going as far into your website as you would like, and if the tracking pixels are being triggered, as it's called, each time a user goes to the next stage in your funnel of conversion. What are the relevant financial questions that one needs to answer in order to do an analysis of an ad campaign? So overall, you are trying to see whether this is a campaign that pays for itself. But sometimes an ad campaign should be viewed on a long-term scale. So that, for instance, if you run a display ad campaign alongside with the search ad campaign, you may find that you're losing money on the display ad campaign, but it's helping conversion on your search ad campaign, because the display side is a brand campaign typically, while your search ad is a direct response campaign. People will respond to something that they recognize. In order to recognize your name, they should become aware of your name through the display. So in order to attribute credit for, what was the ad that actually created the sale, you want to look at this funnel, which I've summarized here in words, of awareness to interest in a product, to desire to acquire the product, to then doing research and comparison, to then making a purchase decision, and then finally paying and receiving a thank you, and then becoming a repeat buyer. So the funnel of conversion is very important, and is often represented through a top-down graphic, as we will see in some future module. You want to look also at the lifetime value of your customer. Just getting a one-time sale is not as good, of course, as getting repeat sales. And repeat sales are usually cheaper to produce than a new sale. So your long-term analysis on the campaign should look not just at one-time sale, but repeat sales of customers. And then your loyalty programs, email marketing, and promotions will help boost these repeat sales that should pick up then the new customers we found with the repeat customers. So continuing on the relevant financial questions to ask to analyze the return on a search engine campaign, what can we do when we are confronted with very low cost per click break-even points or we are confronted with low click-through rates also? You may want to look at keywords that are not used a lot, sort of search for things that people may search for that relate to your product, but not in a direct fashion. So the top keywords usually are pretty expensive, but if you go further out in the tail, as it's called, you may find lots of valuable keywords that bring people to your site, but don't cost as much. In general, you want to look for ads that get you a high click-through rate and have a very high conversion rate as well. And those numbers are dependent on your metrics, but typically for search campaigns, you will be able to get ads that get, between 2 and 20% click-through rates, 20 being, very rarely seen, but certainly 2 to 5% being quite common. And then conversion rate, typically 5%, sometime up to 10%. If you've created your website in an attractive fashion and you're selling a product at an attractive price. Break-even point analysis. So let's assume that you are spending $1 per click to get a visitor to your site. And that people arriving at your site through this search engine query are converting at the rate of 5%. Please note that this conversion rate may differ depending if you're coming from a search engine or you're coming from just a display ad or random, surfing of the web. But here we're looking at the funnel coming from the search ads. And they're buying something that costs $60. So the conversion cost, the pay-per-click conversion cost will be $1 times or divided by your 5%, which is $20. So it brings you $20 to create a $60 sale. Now, let's say that your product has a 15% profit margin, and so you're making $5 on profits every time you sell this widget. So you might be losing money on this ad campaign because you're spending $20 to earn $9 in profits. However, you have to look at the overall lifetime value on one side, and what would be the break-even point if you were to actually make this ad campaign profitable. So in this case, we have $9 times now the 5% conversion rate, which gives us 45 cents. So 45 cents is what we should be spending on the clicks, okay? But instead we're spending $1. But now we have the lifetime value of the customer. Maybe we think they are buying 3 times something once they discovered our great product. So their lifetime value will be about 3 times higher than the $9. So it's going to be about $27 times the 5% conversion rate. This means that we could spend up to $1.35 in order to attract a new person to our website. So the dollar was actually profitable, and it generated a first sale. Then we give credit to the same click for the second and third sale, and you generate this for a profitable campaign. In order to do that, of course, you have to be able to track the origin of your customers. So internal to your company, you must have a very good analytics system to see where customers are coming from and what created them to become customers. So overall, what we saw in this module was search engine marketing, which was our second method of online advertising, after display advertising, which was in the first lesson. And the next lesson, we're going to talk about social media marketing.